So you do have a reputation of being real creative, right? And innovator, going outside the box, reading between the lines in the rule book, taking advantage of those opportunities, right? And so is that something that was part of you way back then?
Well, I mean,
because when I started racing, I looked at the rules to build the car.
Right.
I didn't start thinking about bending any of them rules till I got older, right?
Well,
so at 16 years old, are you
creative? Right. If you go back to where I started at, exactly, and around the people I was around,
they was creative.
Yeah,
Tiger Tom was creative,
an
innovator.
What are some of the things? What are some of the things that that Tiger did the cars that you were like, damn, that's smart.
Well, I mean, nitrous was big at the time.
Yeah,
everybody
ran nitrous. I didn't even know that. So I'd heard about somebody wrecked at Darlington and the frame broke and they saw the nitrous bottle and there was those stories, like one here, one there. But then as you dig more deep into it, and Daryl was on here and he's like, damn, everybody had a bottle in their car. Everybody, even the guys in the back, that weren't they knew they were just going to go out there and run the laps.
Right.
In the race, but they had to have the bottle to get in the race.
Right.
We found out your dad even did.
Dad even had a bottle in his car.
If you didn't have a bottle, you didn't race.
Right.
It's as simple as that. I mean, I still got 3 or 4 of the small ones that still left.
Mementos.
Yeah. I used to fill bottles for people, so I knew who was running them. You know what I'm saying?
No kidding. So,
because there was several different grades of nitrous that was good and bad.
Oh,
really? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a medical and there's an industrial.
Yeah.
I know.
So there was the nitrous and how to hide that, and I mean, what's a smart way to put that in your car back then in the 60s and 70s to be able to hide it?
Well, it just depends. I mean, we a lot of time we just fogged it. That was probably the quickest, simplest.
What does that mean?
I mean, you sprayed it towards the air cleaner. From the firewall or in the air, up in the air cleaner, you just fogged it. If you fogged it, you didn't really have to worry about the jets and stuff like it right there as much. But if you run it into the jets underneath the carburetor, you had to go up on the jets too. So that meant you was going to probably run rich the whole race because you didn't use the nitrous the whole race. So I just usually fogged it. And that was 100 and 150 horsepower.
Yeah. And so where's the bottle?
Well, now that just depends, where you want to put it at. Sometimes you put it in the driver's suit. You put it under the dash.
How big does it look? What does it look? I've never seen one.
I had some that was the same size as a roll bar.
Yeah.
Inch and a 3/4 roll bar. Looked just like a roll bar.
And they'd have it in their suit and just tie into a line somewhere? Or?
Yeah, you could make it and fold it however you wanted to. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just depending on how big you wanted and how. Normally, you didn't really want to run that stuff 1 or 2 laps.
Yeah.
And that's why I said that's the reason you wanted to fog it. Yeah. It was much better.
How much is how much do you need? You say you don't run it the whole race, obviously. So like an ounce?
No, you run it by the pounds.
By the pound?
Yeah, most of the time I run a 1 to 2 pound bottle.
Yeah.
And I had some 5 pound bottles, if it's going to run a big race, you know what I'm saying? I needed dirt in too, you know what I'm saying?
They'll bring out the old 5 pounder. And
but you take, like the size of that bottle right there was a pretty popular size.
Yeah. I'm fascinated by that. Like,
I am too.
DW and them guys, I forget who qualified on the front row of the Daytona 500. I think it was Foyt and Darrell, and they threw them both out because they both had it.
Yeah, they probably had it in the radiator. A lot of people ran the radiator back then.
What do you mean?
They put it, the tanks of the radiator.
They put the bottle in the tank.
Yes.
And then there'd be a line out of the radiator that looked like a typical overflow line or something, right?
Yeah.
Damn, that's
bleed
smart.
off or something like it right there, Yeah, oh yeah.
That's pretty smart.
Or, you had it on your roll cage. You had them bars that run across the thing. One of them bars would be a bottle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It spray back towards the air cleaner.
Yeah.
I don't know how you'd ever
the bar across so there was the bar that tied into the to the snout, right? That run across the top of the front of the motor. Yeah. That's perfect.
Oh yeah.
You would never find that.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't know what you're looking at unless you knew what you're looking at.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
The average guy didn't have a clue,
And I imagine not all the there was always like 1 or 2 guys in the garage that officiated that knew that much about cars, but most of them were just like, hey man, here's your template. This is your job today. Do this template. You know, most of them didn't know the true nuts and bolts.
Right.
You could get it through there.
Well, we went down there to a test, at Talladega. Took the car down there to a test, and
I bet you didn't even want to take the rear springs out of it.
I didn't. I actually showed up at the test with the springs in the car because I did everything there at the shop, and I went to the wind tunnel and seen when the car dropped down, how much it would get and everything, how much it would gain. So I knew right then, this is all I got to do.
Yeah.
And at that time, Kel's renting motors from Mark Smith. And he's paying $50,000 the race for the motors, and that's a lot of money. And Kel said, "Can you save me?" And I said, "We'll take your motors." He hadn't run his motors in 2 years. Take your motors and put it in that car because that car haul ass now. And so we did. And now Kel's renting motors because of that. But anyhow, we go down there at that test, and it's about 11, 12 o'clock that morning when we go out there and we run a couple of laps, and this car is 7/8 tenths faster than every car there, period. I mean, like on the first lap. Robert Yates and Andy Petrie and a couple of others come over and look, and next thing you know, here comes the NASCAR officials all down. And I see them coming toward me. I said, "Boys, drop the gate." We cut our test short. I put the car on the truck, went to Daytona because there's a test at Daytona the next week. And so I get down there, and NASCAR comes up to me before I even get up. As soon as I get off the truck, "We want to check your motor, this and that." And I'll check the motor. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Just don't look at the other shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They checked the motor, and it was checked out okay. And I reckon they pleased Robert and the rest of the guys around because, we ain't supposed to do this here. Bunch of damn rednecks over there, you know what I'm saying? At Kel's, and those other guys all, factory teams, and we're killing them. But anyhow, they checked the motor checks out all right. Well, then for the race, they bring out this X-ray machine. And Dr. Punch comes over there with this big X-ray of an engine, and I look at it, and he shows that X-ray. He says, You can see everything. I mean, you can see the threads on the bolt. I mean, you can see X-ray of a motor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He says, "Is this going to change if they do this here to your motor? Is this going to change the way you qualify and run this race?" I said, "Damn, I sure hope not." I said, "I don't know how it would." I said, "But I sure hope not." And so they, we didn't want to sit on the pole. I didn't put no tape on it, so I think I ended up qualifying third or something like that right there. That was good because the first two's only one really run through the booth at the time.
Yeah.
The deal was back then, if you remember, they didn't have a tail height. They only had a roof height. And everybody run a 1/2 to 3/4 tall on the roof. And so I could get the back end down, and if it didn't come up enough, your roof will still take care of it. It ain't going through. So I was okay, you know what I'm saying, with the big spring, because half the time it wouldn't come all the way back up, in the back.
Yeah.
And stuff. But anyhow, we run that race and stuff. And actually, I think I could have won that race, but John had a right rear tire go down, and he thought it was an axle. And he said, "I swear."
That's John Andretti.
Yeah. He said, "I swear, Furr, I believe we broke an axle." I said, "Well, I don't know how you would feel that axle." I said, "It's open rear end." I said, I don't know. He said, I'm positive it's axle. So a caution comes out, and so we pull in, and I go into the old Stoco garage right there, and when he pulls in, I see the right rear's down. Well, I got Slick Owens. He's 65 years old, and a couple other old guys down there, and most of my pit crew's down here in the garage going to fix the car. And those old guys said, "Get back out there, it's the right rear." Get back down there, and those older guys go over and change the right rear tire.
Yeah.
And stuff. And so we make up one lap under green, and the other lap we got the lead and made it up basically under green.
Yep.
But it's the end of the race, and I think he ended up 4th or 5th in that race. But we were badass fast that race.
Let's talk about some of the things, that some of the creative things you did, but, reading between the lines of the rule book. Getting the car low is not illegal as long as the car comes back up.
Right.
But, you did get penalized and fined by NASCAR a few times.
Right.
I know that you tried a few things that they didn't think were legal.
Well, the first time was when I was too low in the rear. They made a rule right then and there. Because, like I said, the rule was on the roof.
Then they started measuring the quarter penalties.
They measured. Gary comes back there. What happened was I had these jack bolts made to where it was a jack bolt, and it was hollowed out inside and split in the side there, and they would different heights made different tenths. And so I knew what height I needed to run what speed I needed. You know what I'm saying? 1/4 inch was 2.5 tenths, and then so on up,
Sure.
up to 3/4. I didn't want to go over 3/4, but it was way too fast. I didn't get over that. So anyhow,
you split the screw jack so it would bow and bend and
blow out.
blow out,
Blow out.
but that wouldn't come back.
No, that wouldn't come. But there wasn't no quarter panel heights.
So it's fine if it came back low. And then they made quarter panel heights, so you had to change your screw jacks.
Well, what happened? What got me caught is it wasn't the quarter panel height so much, but the quarter panel was low. But they made the rule after that. But what got me caught was the piece didn't break. You know them little orange balls that used to the radio announcers used to set up in Daytona?
76.
Yeah, the 76 balls.
Yeah.
He goes out on the track and, changes the gears and everything. And normally they broke right there. Well, this one didn't break till it got up on the banking, and it popped out right there in front of the guy with the orange ball. And he saw it roll down the track. NASCAR goes out there, gets it, comes back, and it's full of anti-seize because they take the jack bolts out at the time and have them in their hands. And the old boy, the officials got anti-seize, down his face where he rubbed his face and all this here And I'm sitting there laughing, not dying laughing. But anyhow, they come back, and Gary's got this rag, and it's full of anti-seize and that little piece in it. And he walks over to me, he says, you ever seen this before? I said, no, I don't know what it is, He holds it up again. He says, how long did it take you to make that? I said, man, I just told you, I don't know what it is. I ain't never seen nothing like that. He said, this is anti-seize off of your car. He said, this popped out from under your car. He said, because I just seen all the anti-seize, the same kind of anti-seize, and this come out from under your car because the guy ever seen it. I said, I don't know what happened then. I said, look over and let's see. So my jack bolt's in place like it's supposed to be, but that piece there's missing. But you can put two and two together,
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take it to my grave with as far as he goes. I never admitted to it. And so he says, well, we'll figure out something. And so they actually it was for qualifying, so that puts me in the 125 in the rear. So now I have to start in the rear in the 125, and I ended up second to Sterling in the 125 because I'm still down, and all. But I had this spring Landrum made me for the front to where it would collapse too. And now my damn front end
is too low.
So that put me back, and that's how they actually got me, was on that.
And is this when you're working at Hendrick with
yes,
with 25?
Yeah. Well, what happened?
So listen, I was there, or I was watching it on TV. I remember when Jeremy in the 25 goes out to qualify, and ran like 3/4 of a second faster in the field, and everybody knew right then that something was up.
Well, if you'll remember, that was the first year of Dodge. You got Dodge the first year there, and Ray and Rick really wasn't getting along that great because of all the things that happened. But anyhow, we were 39th in practice. You know what I'm saying? I come down there in race mode, and Rick comes up to the top of the truck, and he says, little buddy, he says, we're going to get embarrassed today. I said, yeah. I said, it don't look good for qualifying. I said, we're going to be all right in the race, I promise you. He said, well, I need to qualify better. He said, you're the only one I know I can talk to.
Rick said this?
Yeah. He said, you're the only one I know.
That thing goes out there and hits the ground. Its sparks is flying all out
Well, I'm
under
going to tell you what happened. Because I already knew exactly what everything would pick you up. And NASCAR gives you a plate. You run your plate in practice.
Mm-hmm.
And
the
they give you
plate.
Yeah. They give you their plate for qualifying. Well, what happened is their plate was 2.5 horsepower better than my plate. Yep. And I didn't account on that. And that's what put me to where I was at.
Too good.
Ooh. If you take that 2.5 tenths and figure out where I'm at now, I'm 5th or 6th. Patting on the back, your hero, everything.
But you ran too good.
I ran too good.
Yeah. And so they threw you out for that qualifying lap, and then you went out and got low in the front.
Yeah.
So the piece you made on the front springs, I'd always thought it was like some sort of a, not soap, but some sort of material that once loaded into the banking would be crushed.
That's what happened.
By the spring.
That's what happened.
What was it? What was the material?
I don't know exactly what it was because Landrum out of Georgia made the springs for me. Uh-huh. And I told him what I wanted to do and how much I needed and all. But I sort of miscalculated a little bit and got this a little bit too low.
Too much.
That's how that happens, by the way. You tell the manufacturer of the spring, like, I want to be able to do this. I mean, you don't care how it's done. You're just saying, I want a spring to be able to do this, and then you put it in your car?
Well, this guy, Landrum, was a dirt racer from way back, and I knew him from the dirt days.
Okay.
He wasn't somebody everybody was using.
No, nobody. Actually, nobody used him. And all.
That's the kind of guy you need.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
you get your,
I had several of those guys, during my career.
They ain't building parts for nobody but you.
Exactly.
That's amazing finds.
Yeah, I mean, I had a transmission that would pick you up 3/10. You remember them fallout transmissions? Mm-mm. Yeah, it would fall. All the gears would fall out, and nothing would run, but just a straight shaft. And they outlawed that. That was 3/10. I mean, bam, they outlawed that. But anyhow, and this guy was out of Missouri. I met with him.
The transmission guy.
Transmission guy. Yeah.
God.
I know. And I was the first one to run the Bimbo brakes and all that stuff, and all the air ducts and stuff. That was all made there at DK Aldrich with my deal, because we run second with to Rusty for like 200 and some laps, and Sachs run out of brakes, and I caught on fire during a pit stop. And so I vowed to never go back to Martinsville and ever run out of brakes again. So we built this deal up there. I had, I think it was 6 electric wind leaf blowers.
Yeah.
And we built a piece of plywood, 4 pieces of plywood, and built it into a tunnel and stuck it up to the front of the car, and put a pitot tube over here and see how much CFMs would come through to the brakes.
Yep.
And man, it blew the brake caliper off. It was so good.
Yeah.
I never had no brake problems. And that was the rule after that. Everybody run that after that.
Right.
And all. But anyhow, going back to Daytona and stuff like right there, I mean, that guy, he was, I knew him from my dirt days and stuff.
And who was the driver of that car? Was it Nadeau?
Nadeau.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jerry Nadeau. And so you get popped then.
Yeah.
So you got a 4-race suspension.
Actually, I got a 12-week suspension to start with. Dad sat down at the driver's meeting beside of me, and he come up to me and he says, "Boy, you in trouble, ain't you?" I said, "Looks like it." And I said, "Can you do anything for me?" He said, "I'm going out on the boat Tuesday. I'll see what I can do." He said, "I don't."
He's going out on the boat with Mr. France.
Yeah, he says, I don't know. He said, "I don't know that I can get you completely out of it."
Captain
He said,
Jack.
Yeah, he said, "But I'm pretty sure I can get everything reduced and get it to where you'll be okay." Well, that's the day he gets killed, and
Oh man.
yes, it's a sad day. And actually, he was, Jim Kelly was there and a couple other quarterback stuff, and my wife and I were sitting on the wall there, and because we were right behind him, and he come over and sit between me and my wife, scooted me over, got between my wife, started hugging on her and messing with her, and said, "I'm gonna make him jealous," and Dale's picking it on,
Yeah.
And we just got to talking and everything. He said, "I'll take care of you Tuesday," like it right there. And so he walks over and gets in his car. I don't know if I was the last person to talk to him out of the car or not, but I think I was, And he says, "I'll take care of you Tuesday, don't worry." And I said, "All right, you better." Like it right there, I said, "Have a good one." He said, "You too," and we,
Went on about it.
went on about it. And all, but
You had a fuel cell violation. What was a fuel cell violation? There was a fuel cell violation, and combined with the penalty from Daytona, that put you on probation for the entire year.
I had a fuel cell inside of a fuel cell.
As one does.
So like a reserve tank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Which is something that we ended up, everybody had them
Yeah.
in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
They just flip it to number 2. That's like going to give you the last
I mean,
couple of laps.
I had a deal too that where I could tell I could run one lap at Michigan, and it had a fuel gauge. It had a little light on the dash. I made it out of a Fram fuel filter with a float and a proximity switch in it.
Yeah.
And I could do that, and all kinds of little things.
So
like
you could run till you sputtered, then that would get you your lap back
well,
to pit road, or
when you didn't splutter, when your light come on, that meant all the fuel you had was what was in the line.
and that would get you time to come.
You
better
had
get your
to
ass
come.
to pit road.
You had to come.
And that was an innovation that nobody had.
Nobody had
Everybody
that.
else was just hoping their calculations on the pit box was correct.
Exactly.
But your driver got an idea.
Exactly.
Hey, if you like that video, like and comment below, and don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss another piece of Dirty Mo Media content.